Well, I think reconciliation goes beyond apologies. It's actually an action that has to go to signify that the words are genuine and sincere. So that would be land back. That would be reparations and restitution for things that were damaged because of colonization, because of genocide.
Reconciliation means acknowledging the past and looking for solutions. How do we live together in the future? There's a lot of work to be done. It's not a simple definition of what reconciliation means. It's action. Why are Indigenous people the poorest in the country? Why did I grow up in a tar paper shack? Why would my community not have running water and sewer in the 1980s? Why? That's because we were marginalized. And that reconciliation means fixing those injustices.
The damage that Canada did to us, is very, very deep. It's more than just residential schools or Indian day schools. It's far more insidious. For Canada to reconcile that it's going to be a long, long road to do that, because the Indian Act was designed to destroy us.
Reconciling means not being okay with the injustice we see anymore. It means not doing anything small. It means not expecting other people to take that responsibility. It means acknowledging that you benefit off of our oppression every day and trying to do something to stop it. And realizing that if you don't try and do something to stop it, you're part of the oppression.
When I hear politicians and people talk about reconciliation, for me it's still in the abstract. There's been no concrete actions that go behind those words or the meaning of what reconciliation entails, not just us as human beings, but includes reconciliation to the environment and all our relations that we talk about in Ahanda Gariwadekwa, and reconciliation to them, because as people of the land, our language, our culture, it's all based on the land. That reconciliation has to be extended towards the land as well. So this, the halting of the destruction and contamination of water, of the environment, that to me is part of reconciliation.
It cannot be an empty phrase used by public relations by corporations and entities and governments. It must have substantial meaning, and that way it will be more impactful for all of Canada.
For me, reconciliation would be to stop apprehending our children, to do more to prevent the murders of our women. It was brought out into the public. How long ago was that? And it was all across the nation that people heard about it and they knew about it, and nothing happened, The women are still dying.
When they see racism against Indigenous people, they should stand up and combat that, whatever it is and wherever they see it. I think that's important, because Indigenous people sometimes feel alone and feel like everybody is against us. So we need to see Canadians speak up and stand up.
Non-Indigenous Canadians can be really good allies just by educating themselves about the history of Canada. And there they will learn why Aboriginal people are the poorest in the country. They will learn about marginalization. They will learn about our reserve systems. You should learn about the Indian Act and how it impedes First Nations from actually owning land. If you can't own land, you can't own equity. And if you can't own equity, you cannot generate wealth. That has to be what Canada has to acknowledge. Remove the impediments for First Nations people so they can benefit from their normal day lives.
Learn about the assimilation, the colonization, the theft of land and resources, and the fraud that has occurred to build what is now Canada. I also encourage them to learn about the Indigenous territories that you're living on, and to learn about the Indigenous groups that you share the land with. Learn their values, learn their culture, learn their customs.
We've seen a lot more of the use of the term or the phrase reconciliation is dead. I find this phrase incredibly frustrating because to me it minimizes and erases the actions and advocacy of our elders for the last 40 years towards the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I think that the emotions behind this phrase are completely valid. People are angry, they're upset, and they are looking to create change in a way that they know how to. So I don't want to minimize that, but I do think it's important to understand that when you say reconciliation is dead, what I'm hearing is you minimizing the responsibility of settlers engaging with reconciliation. The work has been done on our side. I'm looking to see it reciprocated.
Reconciliation for non-Indigenous people is actually a huge responsibility. I think much harder work than actually for Indigenous peoples, because non-Indigenous peoples have brought these sets of laws and policies to our land that create injustice. That wasn't our way. It's not our way of living, but it is the colonial way. So it's their work to do, to undo those things and to undo those ways of thinking and to learn to live together in a respectful way.
We have a lot of Indigenous homeless people on the streets, and a lot of them, no one knows who they are. No one really gives a damn. Just know that they have this story of who they are, what happened to them. They probably don't even know why they're on the street because of the trauma, the intergenerational pain and trauma that they still have back in their memories and that they've inherited. So that's, to us, that's a small token of showing compassion to them.
Governments have to change their approach in how they negotiate with Indigenous people. I've been in many negotiations, and the best negotiator that governments can take are to send problem solvers rather than defense lawyers to the negotiations. And if you send defense lawyers, you get nowhere. They defend Canada as if Canada's a little old lady that we want to rob. You saw that when the COVID, when average Canadian was in difficulty. The vaults with the Treasury Board and of the country were wide open, and they just spend money everywhere to sustain and relieve pressure for the average Canadian. That could have been done years ago for Indigenous people. We're only like 1%, 2% of the population. COVID, I think, showed to Canada that it could have been done for Indigenous people as well.
A Cree elder in Saskatchewan once asked me, who is reconciliation for? And I thought, well, it's for Indigenous peoples. And he said, no, it's not. They have nothing to reconcile because they did nothing wrong. And that really put things into perspective for me.
I'm seeing people wanting to engage more and find out what it means to themselves as an individual. And I really invite that, because I think that is so needed within our society, is that communal responsibility of learning what it means to be a settler on stolen land.
Canada needs to allow Indigenous people to lead this process, because under their leadership a genocide happened. So they need to step aside and let Indigenous people's human rights and our needs be met before theirs. So there's a lot of things that Canada should be doing, and it's not. Even the legislation for Indigenous languages is, again, under the guise of a colonial project. Canada needs to let Indigenous people lead, and they need to understand what respecting our human rights means.
I really encourage people to learn the cultures and come and celebrate with us when we're celebrating. Come and sing with us when we're singing. Come and dance with us when we're dancing. Celebrate with us and mourn with us as well when we're mourning. Help us when we're fighting for our Indigenous human rights. Stand with us and show us your support.